Hey everyone, and welcome to Space Lizard Exotics. If this is your first time, well, welcome. If you guys have been visiting, well, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is super exciting, as you can tell by the title, feeding time, feeding frenzy. Oh my goodness, we got a lot of reptiles to feed tonight and a lot of things to talk about. So let's get cracking. I got some feeders de-thawing tonight, and hope everyone's having a wonderful day or evening wherever you're at in this glorious, amazing world. So if you haven't yet, also definitely hit that subscribe button and that bell. That way you get to keep and stay up to date with all of the cool videos that we do weekly and all the amazing scaly creatures. Who knows when I'm going to add another one or 10? Who knows? So let's get cracking tonight. Let's have a wonderful evening, and it's going to be super exciting. So let's get rolling. All right, cool. Got the feeders de-thawed. Super cool, super amazing. I'm so excited for this tonight, especially with Hella, my green tree python. Hella, if you haven't seen her yet, she's my beauty. She's my little gal. I love feeding Hella because one, green tree pythons genuinely are very, very good eaters. I personally feed mine frozen thawed. I know that's a huge talking point. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth in this video as well. I only do that for a couple reasons. It's a lot more personable in my personal opinion to throw that into the mix of things rather than, throwing it live in there. Some snakes will not eat frozen thawed. They will only eat live and vice versa, right? So it does take them some time to wean off either one. Some will not do it, and it takes a lot of time and patience too. So I give anybody props that has done that process, either one. I just personally like frozen thawed because a couple reasons. One of those points is because you absolutely know that there's no parasites or anything in those feeders. So it's been frozen, no problem with potentially getting any parasites, right? The other huge point that I do want to talk about with that is, ready for it? Rats bite. Same with mice. So rats particularly, now most of the time you want to just always be in there while you're watching your snake eat, right? You throw a live mouse in there. Generally, you don't want to leave it alone, especially with a rat, because rats can be highly aggressive, especially if you feel cornered. They could leave your snake damaged. That's just, you don't want that to happen. So you're in there, you're watching it. I don't recommend leaving a live mouse in there longer than 15-20 minutes, especially if the snake is not reacting to or not eating it. It sucks. I know it's a long process, and certain snakes you don't even have to worry about it. You throw them in there, snake sees it, boom, gone, right? So that's one of the reasons why I personally just feed frozen thawed, is because I know that if I offer the snake food, it doesn't eat it. I could usually just give it to my monitor rather than I have a crazy wild mouse running around. I could technically give that to my monitor too, but then my monitor will just be running around crazy. No bueno. So let's start with Hella. Let's get her fed, and let's get on with it. Oh my goodness, what are we going to be doing with little Hella bear tonight? See that tail? See that prehensile tail? That prehensile tail is attracting food, trying to be like, what you want, mouse? What you want, little rodent in the wild? What you want, bird? You think it's a worm? It's not a worm. It's a green tree python. It's going to murk you. But anyway, isn't that cool? So I think that's absolutely amazing. So we're gonna feed her, and she's already on it. What? I love green tree pythons for that reason too. One of the many reasons. Just moving, just waiting for food. Isn't that the coolest thing? Yeah. So I have only fed her fresh, frozen thawed since I've gotten Hella. She has never eaten live before, so I've never tried. I have tried with my other green trees. They didn't like it, so I've just always stuck with frozen thawed. Now, my Asian water monitor, she would eat anything. Same with my caimans. They'll eat live, frozen thawed, whatever. But I have not tried it with Hella. No really need to, since she's a good eater. Figure not try to throw a wrench in things. Phenomenal healthy with it. She seems to like it, never have any issues. Now, this is another point I do want to make. Ready for this one? So when you feed a snake, especially green tree pythons, what size do you feed your snake? The food size should be enough to where it leaves a lump, right? A lump in their belly, large enough to where you could see it. Now, nothing crazy, nothing to where it's just going to be like, oh my goodness, but large enough to where you could see the lump. Even if the food's a little bit smaller, if you notice your snake is prowling around like 3-4 days later, like looking for food, well, just up the food size. It should be genuinely easy from there. You'll know when it's hungry, and you'll see that behavior. Now, offering green tree pythons food, they're goofy. So when I say they're goofy, they don't sometimes get the mouse where you're exactly trying to offer it. In this case, when you're offering food to green tree pythons sometimes miss, and they sometimes do not hit exactly where you want them to. So I'm going to kind of show you a technique that I've learned by some books that I've read and also some feeding videos that I've watched and people who keep actually green tree pythons. From my personal experience of what I've always done with green tree pythons is always try to offer the food head first like this. Now, like I said, sometimes they don't get it because of the gompers, but let's see how this goes. And just like that, super quick. They do not mess around, so God, I love that, how fast she is. Super amazing. Green tree pythons, super amazing eaters, super fun to feed. So glad we got to experience that together tonight. How amazing is that? So let's see how the emerald tree does. What? What in the world? The emerald tree boa? What do you guys think? Is the emerald tree boa gonna eat the same? Is the emerald tree boa gonna be as quick as hell? Be a little bit slower? Is it gonna eat? I hope so. Another thing I want to cover. Ready for the next point? Rats or mice? That's a big question, right? I prefer rats. Now, I started on mice, not a big deal, right? Now, some snakes will not, they're picky eaters, right? They're like my damn cats. It's like, I don't like that food. Well, you need to like that food because it's healthy for you. So rats tend to have a lot more protein, a little bit better for the snake, and some snakes will not eat rats because they're used to mice. Now what you can do is kind of get the scent on them. Now scenting that, and I'm just gonna call it that, scenting in a sense, is a huge thing with snakes and reptiles. Now I've had to do that with chicken broth, with trying to get my emerald tree boas to eat an actual rat or a mouse. That's been insane, by the way. Sometimes they do not eat and you're like, are they used to like baby chicks? Or what is this? So I've tried chicken broth before, that has worked. You could also even sometimes get baby chicks. Now, in that sense too, they are gonna be live for the most part. You want them to be running around in the tank or the terrarium, but watch them too that whole time. Make sure they actually eat it. If not, well, you're gonna have a live chick running around and you may have to, if you have a monitor or something that's gonna eat it right away, well, feed it away. So, in this case, I haven't had to do that in a while with my emerald trees, but I have had to do that in the past. So if they don't eat that right away, try to switch them over to rats. It's a lot easier just to feed all your reptiles one actual, like only rats rather than being like, oh, I have to de-thaw rats. I have to de-thaw some mice now. So the emerald tree boa did not want to eat tonight. Not a big deal. We'll get conned next time. So as I was mentioning earlier, as you could see, I don't want to really open this up to, get her too excited because she'll think I have food. If you notice, see that little bump in her stomach? That's a very appropriate size for her size, basically of what size she is. What size snake, she is. Appropriate size meal for her. So that's a very good example of what I was kind of mentioning earlier. So hopefully that helps in kind of what we were discussing. Another fun little thing I want to do though, because I promised a couple things. Yeah, we have an announcement to make. Ready for this? See that little one right there? That one. That's a new add-on to the fam damly. Oh, little Looney Tunes. Our cat's cool. I have all predatorial creatures in my house. Just throwing that out there. They're all predatorial animals. Come on, let's go. Good girl. All right. So me and Looney Tunes. Come on, Katie. Gotta shut up on all the reptile lights too. Actually, let's go in here. Come on. What are we doing here? What's going down, Mrs. Ma'am? Gotta interact with all the creatures. So, all right, honey, let's go down. Oh, there we go. Good girl. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in this video. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. I'm gonna get some more coffee, do a little bit more odds and ends tonight, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date with all the phenomenal, cool, scaly ones and all the cool little add-ons that we're gonna be doing in the future with Space Lizard Exotic. So everyone, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day or evening and stay rocking.